Hi there, my name's Kathleen and I'm with Windy Chaos and I love Zoom Notes and I love teaching people about it, getting them excited for it, and I hope I can do the same for you. Um, I just think it's a great app and it just does so many things well and I just get excited about it. So today I wanted to teach you about some of the things you can do in Zoom Notes to manipulate images and how that works with the digital planning to make it just much more enjoyable. You're not having to go in and out of several apps because Zoom Notes handles so many of these tasks really well. So let's jump over to my iPad, and hopefully one of the things I discovered when I was reviewing my video was that I kind of cut some things off. So let me see if I can make some adjustments here so that you can see the whole thing. Okay. I am learning a lot about videos and video capture, and I'm just not super proficient at this yet. So I appreciate all the patience and well wishes, good vibes, whatever you want to call it, so that I don't look crazy. I might be crazy. I don't know. Let me move this little guy off of here a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think we're up for it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we can handle this. At some point, I'll get the little circle thing going instead of this big wide face. But anyhow, here we go. So I'm using the Planning to Prosper Create 2025 planner this year, and I love it. It's very similar to what I've used in the past from uh, the Breezy organization, which I still love too. Don't get me wrong, there's just something about this one that seems to click for me in a whole new way. So I'm just loving it. And what I wanted to do was show you how I put together a planner page in a way that hopefully will give you some ideas about how you can use these image tools as well. I'm gonna, okay, so I'm just wanted to show you here how I do my process, and hopefully it'll bring in some ideas for you too. So I get some of my favorite backgrounds, which I always love to start with a background. I get some of my favorite ones from this silly little game that I play at night when I'm trying to wind down and go to bed. And it's called Patterned, and it's just a little puzzle game. Let me show it to you real quick here. Um, it's just, they have, I love seasonal things, and there's just something about this aesthetic that I really enjoy as well. But they have a new puzzle every day, and then they have a ton of other puzzles. And gosh, I've been playing it for a couple of years, so I have quite, I can go back a couple of years. Everything's very seasonal. Um, Here you can see like all the Halloweeny cute stuff and everything. And of course, we've got kind of winter and still a little bit of Christmas in there as well. I'm filming this the second week in January. So this is the little one that we're going to use today. And I've already downloaded it, but once you're done with the puzzle, you get to download, and it saves it as wallpaper. Um, that you can use it as wallpaper and stuff like that. So anyway, it's a really fun game. So if you want free graphics, this is one way to get them. Oh, sorry, my Zoom Notes decided it was done for the day. I've been working it hard because I never seem to get all of this done in one take. So I'm going to go up here to the top to the wrench and hammer just to show you this is where all the tools are. This is where I've put my favorite tools, the top 10, and then some across the top as well. So I'm used to where they are, but they aren't going to be in the same place on your app unless you completely mimic mine, which, you know, probably not going to do that because you're probably using things a little differently than I do. So I'm going to try to use the big toolbar just so that you'll be sure to know where to go. All right, we're gonna go here to image tools, second to the bottom there, photo album, and I'm just gonna pull that in. And you can see it doesn't quite fit the space exactly, but that's okay. If you wanted to, you could just have a column over here on this edge. Um, and put in your planner things and that sort of thing. And that's great. You wouldn't have to do anything else if you didn't want to. For me, I like to kind of play around with things. So I'm going to select the image and then I'm going to go up here to the sliders. And this is my favorite menu. You can kind of have everything all reduced down. It's really long. Um, and the things that I use the most are, I'm going to collapse everything. Image. This image one is what I use all the time. So the first one thing I want to show you, and I just use these top two, and sometimes the drop shadow, but the top two are it. Transparency. This is really fun. And transparency, and I may be using the wrong image because when I'm looking at playback on this, it doesn't show as vibrant. And I honestly, I wish I knew how to. Let me see if there's something I can do here that changes this a little bit for you. Um, da, 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 da. That's still. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt anything, but I'm also still learning. Ah, okay. Properties. Nope. Okay. I just wanted to try to darken that up a little bit, but I'm not sure I can. Well, maybe I can this way. I'm not sure. But anyhow, when I get into this, there's a paint at the top and there's fill, add or subtract. Basically, this is like an eraser. And so it's fabulous because it takes away the whole background. So if I'm using the fill, I can go in and just create little blank spots. So I could take away most of this background here. I know this is showing on your screen as white, but on my screen it shows as like light blue. But I'm just taking away the snow. And this is just kind of fun. But the fun part is too that I could really change the whole look and feel of this graphic by layering something else underneath it because I created this transparency. So that's super fun. All right, so I'm going to say that's good. And when I come back here, it doesn't look like anything's different because it's sitting on the white. If I pull it down to the gray, you can kind of see that there is that transparency there. Now I'm going to I'm going to go into split screen and I'm going to pull up my folder, my files, and I have everything like saved into Dropbox. But I want to show you using this glue gingham, oops, what it could look like layered. And I would really kind of need to tile this to make it exactly the way I want. But if I did this, operations, copy, paste, here's the second one now. I need this guy. And this is going to hang over the edge, but this is just to show you. I've got to go back here and make this the top, move front. But you can see now I've created this little background with the little gingham in it. And that's kind of sweet. But what if we wanted to make like a big contrast? Okay, I'm going to get rid of the gingham. Also makes it kind of busy. But it's more of just showing you that there are possibilities. Anything. Okay, so I drew a box. I'm in my fill. I want it to be dark. I'm going to change the opacity. I got to bring this up to the front again. And order moved front. And there we go. And doesn't that look just so different? Like a little nighttime scene instead. So you can see you could have a lot of fun with it that way as well. Okay, let's get rid of both of these. Okay, I'm going to bring that picture back in. Okay. Here's another thing we can do with transparency because, again, it is just an eraser. I can make like a shaped edge. You can do that a couple of ways. I'm going to do paint. I'm going to make this kind of big. I could do kind of like a polka dots. Nah, that's not working the way I wanted it to. I wanted to make kind of a scalp. Come on. Okay. I'm going to go back to painting. I'm going to make kind of a... One thing I struggle with on this is I like to zoom in, but sometimes my zooming gets a little crazy and it creates a line where I didn't want one. So I can make this a shape or I could just go follow a line. I could decide. I just wanted a swoop. You know, kind of the sky's the limit here. I could do a sweet like scallop, snowdrift type effect. I don't know. There. It's not very great, but you can also make this very small. Up here at the top, I'm just running my Apple Pencil along that line and it increases and decreases the size. So I could go very, very detailed. Get right in here up next to this cute little Christmas tree. If I wanted to be really detailed about it. And I could go very small, almost like to the pixel. Now, that's a little more than I want to do, but you know, still kind of amazing to think about that you could do that much detail. Now, if you accidentally cover something up that you wanted, that's where you can change it to subtract. You could come back and put it back in. So you're adding transparency or subtracting transparency. So you can see here I accidentally got a little crazy. I had that really big pen on at the time. So I want to smooth out that line a little bit. Then we're going to call this good. So I just want to show you what the overall effect is and not be too big a perfectionist because part of people failing to continue with planning, I think, is they get a little perfectionisty and they're like, I don't have 3 hours a night to make the perfect spread. Why am I doing it? But as you can see, you get this really fun line, that's not squared off, So you can have a lot of fun with this. You could make it, um, like I said, you could do scallops or anything you like. Okay, now I'm going to show you my favorite thing to do. Going to get rid of that. I'm going to bring that back in. Okay, I'm going to make a mask. And to do that, I'm going to go to my pen tool and I'm going to go to style. And the one on the end is the watercolor. I already have this as a dark one. So I have black for my color. Oops. And under customize, I can see that I've got it at 50% opacity with the edge darkening, which is exactly what I want. And I'm just going to make a blob. And whenever I pick up my pen, wherever I overlap, that's going to be darker, and that's okay. I'm just going for a blobby shape. I want it to be kind of organic-y looking. Now, I want it a little darker here in the middle. And I want the edge kind of raggedy, kind of like a torn tissue paper or vellum. So, the cool thing about how ZoomNotes works is it doesn't just mask the shape, it'll mask the opacity. So I'm making it less opaque here in the middle so that a little more of the details come out, and then I'm leaving the edges lighter. Now I have ZoomNotes thinks that this is all handwriting because I made it with the pen. Oops. Let's not do that. So I need to tell it it's a shape. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go up to my selection tool. I'm going to go to operations. I'm going to copy. And then I want to do paste as an image. So now that's my image. It's no longer 35 individual things. It's one thing. And I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to bring this here. And this guy, I need him to be on top because we always mask to the shape that's under us. So we're going to move that to the front. Going to place it over now. I gotta, I want the shape. There we go. There we go. And now make sure I've got my top one selected, and then I'm going to do mask image. And it looks kind of gray and cloudy, but that's because now the image is opaque. And I'm going to pull that off there. And there we go. See how pretty that is? The edges are all undefined. There's parts that are lighter than others. It's just really pretty. Now I could go in with the transparency tool and I could like really clean it up and make it super, super like no partial houses or no partial people or whatever, but I'm not gonna do that. I like it just this way. Now here's the other thing. I can save this guy in my symbols, which is that smiley face, just by clicking this plus, and now he's there. As you can see, I have a couple of shapes now that I can use for masks, and I just think they're super fun. You could draw a heart, you could draw a cloud, you could draw a flower, you know, there's just no end to what you could do to make a really pretty mask. Okay, so that's Finished. Oops. And there we go. Sorry, I have a little bit of the sniffles. Now, finish this off. Now, I didn't show you everything that you can do to your image. Let's play with that a little bit here. Under this image, I'm going to squish these because I want to show you under this edit, you can do some other things to it now too if you want. You can change the hue. And that means like the temperature of the whole thing overall. You can play with the exposure, really lighten it up, and you could play more with the opacity. Right now it's at 100% opacity, but that's after we did the other. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Rotating, this is great if you've got some like a chair in a room and you want it to face the fireplace, but it's perfect, but it doesn't face that fireplace. You can come in and do that here. Changing color works really well on in certain situations and not in others. So if I were to do this and I take the existing, I've got my eyedropper. Let's just say I want to change this red. Maybe I don't love red. And it changed it to this color here because that's what was already selected. But I could change it to something else. Um, let's say I like the brown better. I could do that, but it kind of changes everything a little bit, and part of that is this threshold, this tolerance. It's not my favorite tool. You can go black and white, which is kind of cool, especially if you're wanting to mask something. Go grayscale. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to do any of those things. I really like it the way it is. But there's just a lot in that edit that you can do. And then I said I was going to show you like drop shadow. That's the drop shadow. It doesn't really show so well on this, but if you're doing like a simple box, let's see. I don't love a border, but if I had, say, boxes that I was putting on here and I didn't want them to just be flat, then I could go in. Well, actually, boxes, because this is a shape and not an image, has a draw shadow. And so right there, that helps lift it off. If I were, let's see, I'm going to open GoodNotes where I have most of my stickers are still in GoodNotes. I'm working at moving them, but let me see. I'm going to pull up the snowy days. That might not be the one I'm thinking. You know what? Let's do this. This looks kind of cute. Okay. Now this one, it could use, sometimes when you pull in, you end up with all this extra that you don't need. So cropping it, going into edit and then crop by pulling on these edges, I can just make that whole image square just smaller, and that's a good thing. Also on the resize, I can make it smaller right here, like by doing half. That can be a good thing too, just a little fast. But that's kind of cute. And then if I go image and I do add drop shadow, it'll put a little drop shadow behind there. You don't have a lot of control on the drop shadow, and if you're like me and you're used to working in other graphics programs, it can be a little annoying that you don't have more control on the drop shadow. But this is not bad. Not for, this is pretty good for this one, I think anyway. Oh, one thing I was going to show you too. I love pulling these really big once I've gotten that edge just the way I want, because it does look really pretty actually behind the numbers and stuff at the top. At least I think it does. So that's just a personal preference thing, but I think it looks kind of cool. Okay. Um, so we've done drop shadows, we've done shapes, and you can take a shape and you can, once you're in that select, you can go into shape properties here, which I think is a great little shortcut. But I wanted to show you under operations, this is another one where you can convert it. Basically, um, you can do copy and then paste this image. And now that's an image. And so all the things that you were doing before to images, you can do again, like changing the color, rotating, opacity, all the things. Now, why would you really want to on something like this? Maybe, maybe not anything. But there are certain things like certain like layouts and stuff on the change the color that might really work well. So you've got something that's got 5 colors, but there's one color that's just not your favorite. You can then bring it into change color and just highlight that one color and get rid of it. Change it to something like, um, it takes a little practice. It can be a lot annoying, but it is a powerful tool. And again, you're still not having to go out and go through Procreate and all of that sort of thing. It's all right here within the app. Anyhow, I hope that this gives you some good ideas and some things that you'll want to try and that you'll say, I gotta give ZoomNotes just a little bit of a try here. So take care and you have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.